Well, good afternoon. I hope you are off to a great start to your week. We had such a great service yesterday, and I want to thank all of you who joined us in a wonderful worship service. I hope this week's devotional is also a blessing to you. We were talking yesterday about insufficiency of the Christian life, how we often feel that we're just not meeting the mark, not meeting the standard, whether it be in our relationships with our loved ones, whether it's our walk with Christ as husbands, as wives, as parents. We often feel that we are insufficient to what God called us to do. But rather than give up hope, the Lord gives us hope by letting us know that He anticipated this. Even though it's inevitable for us, even though it's universal to the human condition, the Lord says, I knew this. So I gave you my Spirit so that you could do the things that I called you to be, to become sufficient. And Paul talks about this, and I want to share with you a verse out of 2 Corinthians. Paul experienced this feeling of insufficiency, and in this case, particularly in his sufferings. And maybe some of you can relate to this. Paul says, to keep me from becoming conceited, because of these surpassingly great revelations, there was given me a thorn in my flesh, a messenger of Satan to torment me. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take this away from me. Now listen to this. But the Lord said, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. So we see here that the Lord says, I know you're suffering, Paul. We don't know exactly what he was suffering from. But what matters is that in that suffering, the Lord said, I know that you're in weakness. I know that you're suffering. I know that you're hurting. But my power can make you sufficient to endure all things. So take hope in this and be encouraged by this. Let people know that even though we feel discouraged, even though we feel that we can't deal with our sufferings and the difficulties of this life, the Lord says, take hope in me. Now, that's something very important for you to understand. God cannot be a resource for you. Do you hear me on this? God must be central in your life. He must be as Lord and King in your life so that you can find that sufficiency. It's not about you doing all the work, and whenever you fall short, the Lord fills in the gaps. God is not a resource. God must be central to your life. So be encouraged by this. Remember, the Lord has equipped you. God has given you a spirit of sufficiency. May you have a blessed week this week, and I look forward to our worship next week. God bless.